Well, let's be honest, financially, most of us are all struggling a little bit. Let's call it a financial chokehold. And I'm afraid the situation is not going to get any better. Here's the bad news. The petrol price is expected to increase by between 57 and 93 cents. That's for 1 litre of 95 unleaded. Diesel also expected to go up later this week. So if you haven't filled up, here's some free advice for you. You might want to go and do it now. Economist Professor Bonke Dumisa with us. Prof, good to have you back on ENCA. Just help me understand, why are we seeing such a big jump again in the fuel price? What's happened on the markets?
It was the price of the international Brent crude oil prices, which moved from an average of about $81 per barrel in December. And as a last count, because the monitoring cycle which the CEF uses is up to last Thursday. Up to last Thursday, the average price per barrel was at just over $84. So that's a big jump. And I just want to ascribe that to that only because we had the Minister of Finance, Mr. Enoch Godongwana, towards the end of last week, telling all stakeholders that there must be no increases in fuel levies. I hope that includes this late levies, because that is what was worrying me. But yes, the jump is much higher than many of us anticipated, but it is still below R1 per litre for all grades of petrol and diesel.
Yeah, it is below R1, Prof, but it's close to R1 as almost makes no difference at all. When you say you're watching that oil price so closely, of course, on Brent crude, and it has jumped up, as you were saying, from 81 all the way up to where we are now, we always have to just try and understand why there was that jump. I think a lot of people would just be curious to know, Prof, why this jump is taking place. Is it because of the manufacturing over in China is increasing, or is it still the Russia-Ukraine issue?
You have mentioned it correctly. The opening of the borders in China, and less restrictive measures on their economy, has pushed up the price. Because in economics we say, if ever there is a higher demand but the supply remains static, then the prices go up, and this is what has happened. But of course, the people who sell international crude oil, those OPEC countries, were happy to use that one as an excuse as well to have the prices go up, because as we know, they prefer it to be higher than $100 per barrel. But it has remained under $90 per barrel as it is. I mean, today it opened even better than on Friday at $86. But that's no comfort for people. For all of us who will be paying more for petrol and diesel from tomorrow night onwards.
And that's why I was saying to anyone who hasn't filled up both diesel and petrol, if you got the chance and you still got some money left after debit orders, you might want to maybe fill up that tank before tomorrow evening. Prof, forecast for the rest of the year then. This is quite a big jump. Do we see a reduction in the fuel price maybe next month or the month after, or is this going to keep going up for a bit of a cycle?
I cannot promise for next month, but the trend is the international Brent crude oil price sellers cannot expect the price to go anywhere higher than $100 per barrel in the next few months. So, but they will try their best. What they normally do is they agree to cut down on their production. But what has happened in the recent months is that they've not been honoring that. They were sabotaging each other. And that's why we started seeing the crude oil prices going down to below $80 per barrel, as you saw in December. But yeah, it's something which is beyond our control and beyond many people's control. You must remember what happened in Bangladesh, where everything came to a standstill in that country, and the petrol stations were all running dry. And let me not go to the politics thereof, but it was sad, and we know that will not happen in South Africa, but yeah, it is worrying.
It certainly is, as well, especially for consumers hit by the interest rates last week and now the price of fuel going up this week. Economist Bonke Dumisa, the prof, with us this morning. So it is almost impossible to guess what is going to happen come this time next month or the month after that. But we do know, T, that later this week, all of us are going to be paying a lot more for our fuels.